Well, welcome everybody. We might have more people come, but I thought we should get going. So I'm looking forward to this so much. So I met DeMisty D this past year when we were both judges for the Youth Poetry Prize at the Winchendon Library, and really got to enjoy working with her. It was kind of really fun because our sensibility, I think, was very similar about poems. So it was like really easy. It was like, here's all these poems, and we pretty much aligned with what we thought was going to be the winning poems. She's also judging other things right now, the Frank O'Hara Prize at the Worcester County Poetry Association, and I just saw you posted, it's Prairie Schooner, is that right?
Yeah, the fiction prize.
Fiction prize for Prairie Schooner. And I'll read the blurb we've had in our thing here. Also, I would like to mention that while you're here, please sign in at some point. There's a sign-in sheet there for tonight, and also please donate to New Dawn because New Dawn needs money. There's also Selters over there, so just grab one. It's fine to have one of those. So, DeMisty D. Bellinger is the author of the Barbara DiBernard award-winning short story collection, All Daughters Are Awesome Everywhere, published in 2024. She's also the author of the novel New to Liberty and the poetry collection Peculiar Heritage. DeMisty received an MFA from Southampton College and a PhD in English from the University of Nebraska. DeMisty teaches creative writing in Massachusetts, right over there in Fitchburg, where she also plays viola in a community orchestra and sings alto in a community choir. Please welcome DeMisty.
So I'm going to use the stand, so I'm going to sit, and I'm going to use the mic so I can talk.
Yeah.
So I won't have to use teacher voice all day. Oh, this is talk. Okay, thank you for inviting me, and thank you all for having me. This is a gorgeous spot. You all are so lucky to have New Dawn Art Center. This is beautiful. I think I'll start off by reading some poems, and I'll read a short story or two. And I'm going to go. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm gonna go like from old to new. I'm gonna start. Even if you don't agree with me politically, I think you can still dig the poems, hopefully, in this collection. I'm gonna say I wrote this in November of 2016. And before that, I was writing like very happy, kind of, they're all musical or celebrity persona type poems. And then when life changed in 2016, I thought, I felt very useless. I felt like I wasn't doing the right thing. So I started writing this book when people were asking the question, how do we get here from Barack Obama to Donald J. Trump? And I thought, well, it's kind of the heritage of our country. And the first poem I wrote, a response to that, is the titular poem, Peculiar Heritage. Peculiar comes from like the peculiar institution of slavery. So I'll read some poems from this, and I do want to say immediately before I go on that they're not all depressing. It gets happy at the end, because I think even now, as a lot of people in the federal government are losing their jobs, and we're learning that Ukraine invaded itself. There's still hope. There's still hope in the world. Someone loves Donald Trump. Let's just say that. People love him. So this first poem is called A Peculiar Heritage, and I'm not gonna give trigger warnings. Just know that, is it okay if I swear though? Like, okay. All right, so, peculiar heritage. 1, if you look at her eyes straight on after you've taken from her every one that she's thought to love, and if you see the whites glisten and the browns grow big, and she appears plaintive, she appears hurt but not depleted, do remember that heifers and sows and ewes too will give such eyes, but soon resolve, like the negress, to forget. You could just not look at her eyes. 2, if you look at her eyes and forget the other livestock on your farm, does it make it easier to take her where your wife won't see? If you see her as livestock, would that make it harder to take her? If she is nothing more than a dam, then what she dams also comes from you. What is it that comes from you? I think back in, when did I read the Christian book? It had to be in the 8th grade. So I learned about Tituba in 8th grade and forgot about her. And I originally from Wisconsin. When I first moved here, I had to go to Salem. Like most of, have you been to Salem yet? Because you said, you gotta go to Salem. Don't go in October. Do not do that. I made a mistake of doing that once. But I relearned about Tituba, who is, I don't know if I pronounced her name right, who was an enslaved woman from the Caribbean in Salem, and people blame the witchcraft on her. Like she was supposedly the origin of it, and she was kind of forgotten in prison even after the witch trials. And a lot of you probably know this, so a lot of you have probably heard this before. And there's been countless books and stories told about Tituba, but I am going to do I'm going to tell a persona poem. It's called Tituba. I'll tell you what you want me to, if I can be free. It is cold here, and I don't know the old England. This is all new to me. I will tell you what you want me to, if I can be free. I would traverse this coast on foot, float down the Atlantic to warmer waters. I will tell you anything. Yes, say witch. Yes, say spell. I don't care for tea or the way you speak, the way you don't sing. I close my eyes. I'll cast a spell for me and say aloud, yes, I see the waters, the color of the stones found on shores, and palm fronds waving. I don't hurt the children, I say. I say, I do not hurt them. I say the devil came. I say anything. I say it because I think they'll uncage me. I say anything. I tell them stories of animals with the minds of men, stories of dances and cats bidding the devil's doing if they'll have me no more. I tell them because I want to be free. If they want me, no more with the family, no more in Salem, no more coldness, I'll tell them a story. It's Black History Month, so that fits. Oh, yeah, so it's kind of good that I have to come up there. I'll read another Black History, well, I'll read 2 more Black History ones, and then we'll move away from slavery. This is an ode to Harriet Tubman, There Was Such a Glory. And this came from her writings when she first hit like free soil. She said there was such a glory all over me. I actually have a quote. Why am I guessing? When I found I had crossed that line, I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person. There was such a glory over everything. The sun came like gold through trees and over the fields, and I felt like I was in heaven. This is she wrote to me. It's a gorgeous thing to say. So the first part of this poem, this is in 3 parts, it's called There Was Such a Glory. The second part is because of Keziah. Keziah was her niece. And the third part is Nurse Cook Spy. Harriet Tubman was just really badass. There is such a glory. Over everything, the world looked gold gilded. These northern trees with their shimmering leaves, this river full of mud running loudly in praise. My fingers and fingernails go scuffed and scratched and filled with dirt. The grasses growing glowed when the wind blew. These field flowers that I did not know, I knelt and smelt them. I shuddered, but did not sob. It was the sun that shone, sure, but it was that I could see how the sun shone. What the light hit and what hid from it, I could feel warm and a breeze and concentrate on that. I could not look over my shoulder, and my Lord, I could sit on the grass for a minute, for minutes and longer. 2, because of Keziah. Overheard on a network as strong as gale winds, blow across city, prairie, and forest, riding river waves from the south to the north, news from a never-wanted home, trade for comfort and unfettered life because of Keziah. Because of love, because of freedom as wide as this should be shared with her and her family. And back where glory reigns, rest only as long as it takes to catch a breath, because freedom is sweet as summer's rain and cannot be hoarded. Because of indiscriminate love, go down over and over again. You'll be free or die. To those too afraid to continue, soon they go upward, forward. And when the men who make the rules clash over morality and slavery, revolt against those who call themselves rebels, there is liberty or there is death. 3, Nurse Cook's 5. On the deck of the gunboat, did she wear a dress such as those women wore in that era? I imagine she wore boots blacker than her skin, but just as well worn and ready to carry her. Did she smile as the ironclad boat traversed waters deceivingly calm? Did the men look to her as a leader? Did she look to them as her men? Was she, before going into battle and freeing even more, a nurse to the Union soldiers, their cook? Was she, even then, spying? One more poem in slavery, then we get out. Look, this poem gets us out of slavery. So this is called June 19th, 1865. And since I was a kid, I always wondered, like, when people in Galveston, Texas heard that they were free for a little while, I wondered what they thought about that. Like, oh, really? We are? June 19, 1865. Emancipation has too many syllables, and I don't have the words for syllables yet. I haven't the experience to understand what it could possibly mean and would be for me. Major General has too many titles, and none of them are master. He says free, and some of us laugh. I step gingerly forward, and nothing. For 2 years, Major General Granger says, we've been free. And I take another step forward, and I hear nothing. I walk on, and I don't even hear a dog. I'm still walking. All right, so there's kind of a lost poem. So we're moving away from slavery. Let's pretend that we're in the 1920s. So this is called Neo Blues Song. What keeps me awake at night lulls you to sleep at 10. There are 10 bars more, but I can't sleep. There is a key change, but I won't hear it. I can't keep up with the tempo. I have forgotten all the words. Things are changing too fast for me, shifting when I'm sitting. I'd get up, but I'm so down. That's how the blues go. I'm so down. Who knows what repeats? What keeps me away at night lulls you, lullabies you. I'm going to try to read this without, like, okay, so this is called Big Men in the North, and I'll explain it after everything, actually. This is work. This is a sacrifice to the money. This is a goat gotten from a farm that people cannot believe exists in a western part of the state. Look, the farm lies just beyond those mountains. These are 2 men with shiny patent leather shoes that they shopped for. Those men, they chose those shoes during an hour or half an hour on a busy day, and they tried them on, looked in a mirror that came up to their knees, saw how their tailored hems fell over the tongue of the shoe. They fantasized walking to somewhere great with these shoes on. They dreamt of big things happening because of those shoes. This is what work is: slitting throats of farm goats and collecting the offal in a bin. This is the messiness of assimilating big men becoming great men. So I'll try to explain that. I have a colleague who used to keep goats on his farm at in Western Mass. And he told me a story about some friends who were from, I don't know what part of Africa, but they were from Africa, and they were gonna buy some goats. And my friend is like this middle-aged Jewish guy, and these African guys come, and they buy gold, and right there on the farm, they slit his neck. So I was thinking about them for a long time. And for some reason, it made me think of capitalism, or like what we think of as capitalism, what others do, what us Americans think of as capitalism. And you're like, okay, you're gonna, I don't know. I had a friend from Rwanda years ago who couldn't believe when he first got to America how we bought meat because it was dead and packaged. And it's like, you don't know if the animal is healthy, you don't know what you get, what part, or anything. This one is called Windsor Knot. Remember the scene in Gatsby? Daisy selling shirts through the ruined space. I felt stuffy reading that novel when placed in Gatsby's Long Island mansion. Imagine instead waters outside, calm ripples, ties denoting masculinity, colors and patterns denoting what is man-made, rigidity of Western men, dampened, wetted, doused. Imagine instead a baptism in money, capitalism mistaken for love, economy of care. A wealth of undrinkable water, a sea of tightened ties. It's just such a weird scene in Greek Gatsby. It's just like, this shirts are so beautiful. This is actually the Ekphrasis poem, based on a photographer's work. He was a photographer at Vermont Studio Center for a while. But he had this work where he's in the waters there in Johnston, Vermont, and there's all these ties around. So I saw some great, I know you have a writing group, and you have some great photography around here right now for this show. There's this like, yeah, you can pick one of these and write a short story or poem about it. Lots of great pictures. There's one picture back there I keep thinking about, why is he grabbing this woman's face that way? She's holding a baby and he's grabbing her face up, and it doesn't, is it loving? I don't know. It's just such a strange picture.
No.
You don't think it's loving?
No,
No?
he was
Okay.
a little, because the photographer was here
Yeah.
giving a talk.
Okay.
And I think he was on the abusive side.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Is that the same guy in the other picture too?
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Asshole? Okay. He's over here too?
I don't know, that's what I was
Okay.
asking.
No,
That's a
Just a
different
different guy?
guy.
Okay. All right. Okay. This one is called Sowing Season. Okay. My mother's fingers rip through my coarse hair, 1/2/3, 1/2/3, thousands of rings circling each other, thousands of times, braiding histories of the women before her into my hair. My mother parts furrows onto the scalp beneath the mound of my woolly hair, scratching squee, charting rows of, rows of roads crossed by the women before her into my hair. My mother's fingers recall lineage of designs, cross continents, cross ideas, crossing corn rows, thrip, plaiting Africa into my hair. This poem is called Real Estate Mogul. I'll try to read it slowly and I'll try not to laugh. I will destroy everything you've created and build instead something paler, freckled, speckled, gold, gilded. Tell the people it's as good as my name. See the egress. Okay. One more Donald Trump poem, and then I'll read. I'll end on a happier note with this one. This is called Pussy Willow, and this is kind of a solicited poem someone asked for this book called Nasty Women Unite. It's a collection of poetry from women responding to such a nasty one. So this is called pussy willow. The common shrubbery's male form has a woolly catkin. A catkin is a flowering spike, typically downy, pendulous. You prefer fuzzy to woolly, but sure, woolly, catkin, roots are Dutch. It means something like kitten, woolly or fuzzy, downy, pendulous kitten. You know this plant. You see silk flowers or dry flowers or just the male form of this plant in a tall vase. And the plant is erect and pointing ever upward. You take your index finger and the thumb of your left hand and absently stroke one of the little white woolly bulbs when talking to someone about anything else but catkin and fuzzy or woolly or kittens, and you close your eyes briefly, shudder slightly, feeling a little mischievous as the hairs of this plant tickle the pads of your fingers, and you're still talking about politics or anything else, and you grab this maleness of this shrubbery and feel some level of control. Okay. The last poem here is Age of Affirmation, and this came from someone actually asking what is the best thing that you like about yourself, like physically. Age of Affirmation. When you're old enough to realize that you can't decide which of your parts are truly private, it's too late for it to matter or for you to care. The important thing is apathy can be delicious, if not more so than the bubblegum flavored wishes and overcaring of your past. A friend asks, what part of your body do you appreciate more now that you're older? And you listen to answers other women give, trying your best to come up with a reason, trying to remember what part you did like when you were not this age. The lovely part here is outside of body, within the mind. See, thinking is grander now more than ever. You cherish your every waking moment that you can turn over bits of the world in your very own mind. You grasp at the shimmering bits of dreams you barely remember, falling vertically from dream to the shadows dancing behind your closed lids. These visions are your most private parts of you, and you fall even more vulnerable to being awake and aware. Okay, so the last reading I gave, I ran out of books. So my husband and I quickly printed up. This is the only self-publishing I have. And it's something that I was debating on sending off, but I just haven't gotten a chance to. Only one of the poems is actually published in here. And this is You Are, a poem in 12 parts. And this is based on the song by this jazz band called The Bad Bus. And the song, like in the middle of the song, like where all the solos are and everything, it never resolves. You know, like it keeps going up, and you want it to go to the root or the bass, and it never does. And until like, you know, after that section is, I don't know. So I wrote a couple of poems about it, just listening to it, like poems. This first one is called, well, they're all just numbered. This is number 1. My love song, chord change, augmented or diminished. You are the unfinished melody and negative noise, absent sound, silence of spaces. Between whispers, a constant pounding. You are appreciated, triads trying to call. You are a response, a love song. You are an atonal symphony. You are the din. You are my love song. Chosen or chaos from the speaker, a cacophony from the stage. Read number 4. This is the one that was published. I have let myself go. This is a sickness, and I need hand holding. My hair has grown maybe an inch when I wasn't watching or washing it. I let it grow. My various curl patterns whirl into each other across different sections of my head. My hair, not quite an afro, collects more than cascades, goes upwards of the sides I sleep on, forming a 3-sided box of coils. It is winter leaves, tenaciously holding onto oak trees, browning and twisting in on themselves, hugging closely. You take me, you place me on the floor, between your thighs. You work a wide tooth comb over my head. You are a hairdresser. You are a healer. You are mountain mover. You are godlike. You parting my woolly hair, placating me. You are here for me. But this is your position. This is your place. This is where you sit. This is how you stand. This is your time. This is your belief. This is how you play. But this is your position. This is where you line up. Here, you line up. This is where you are. Protest form again. Okay. Two more. I'm gonna read two more. Okay. I'm gonna read two foreign poems, so kind of long, and then I'll read this.
We started late. We probably, I think we could go to 7.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna read some short stories.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want you to feel too rushed.
Okay. All right. So this is a ghazal, which is the poem that it's a form. I don't need to, but your name could be in the last line, so you can listen for DeMisty. The lines on your face smooth out as you smile slightly, bobbing your head, and you look at me as if I should sing. Without your asking me to, I turn the radio up louder, watch you succumb to the bass. I start to think that you would sing. We know that you can't carry tunes except for inside of you. It's me who has perfect pitch, the right vibrato, and who could sing. I do what you want. I sing along to the song, you pull over, we watch cars, tail lights, and the day dripping into night as I sing. And as the blue of the sky rolls to a masala bruise, then the smoky gray of a coming storm, you close your eyes. This is how you sing. Without your asking me to, I turn the radio down. It feels good enough to hurt. We decompress. It's misty outside. I know not to sing. It's kind of corny. All right, the last one, this is a sonnet. Should get it 14. Work in progress. In this stream, you are an artist who works with colorful inks and liquid solutions in large flat vats. I watch you drop splashes of magentas, yellows, and blues in a liquid. I watch the ink blossom into spreading flowers, blooming until there is no space to grow. In the stream, you are a dancer who prefers your feet bare and minimal design in your costumes, who prefers wearing black and dancing against light backdrops. The music you choose is almost atonal, genre-splitting, and elusive. Your hair is loose. In this dream, you're not in it. I'm not sure where I am. I'm outside of it. It's not quite a dream. So, all daughters are awesome everywhere. It's supposed to be called awesome everywhere. But the editor said, oh, daughters are awesome everywhere. So there we are. Okay, so the first part. So this is part of a queer book series of queer fiction, which sounds weird because my husband's back there, but to consider myself, not quite straight. He doesn't mind. So the first part are mostly the queer stories, right? Yeah, well, sort of. I'm gonna read, I always read Black Girls Magic. I'm gonna read Acquiring Joshua, which is fun. I wrote this a long time ago. I'll read some more. These are mostly flash. There's some short stories too. Acquiring Joshua. Okay, story mode, moving away from poetry. She has started spreading over to Joshua's side of the bedroom. A little at first, a pair of earrings one day, a compact mirror, and a couple of business cards she collected the next day. Once he come home to find her horizontally on the bed, one arm on his pillow. Her panties and pantyhose were on his side of the floor. Her blazer draped over his chair. Monday morning, he found that his men's size 11 feet fit comfortably inside of her women's size 7 shoes, which he found beneath his side of the bed, where his topsiders should have been. With no other shoes nearby, he wore them to work. He marveled at the height they gave him, how the heel points made him walk straight, his back a perfect direct T, and his feet following one in front of the other with each step. People noticed him that day, stood when he entered the room. They answered his questions and fulfilled his requests immediately. Thursday at 11:22 a.m., he was in the bathroom reapplying a coat of raisin red lipstick. Peterson was in the bathroom too and watched him don it. Looking good, Joshua. Thanks. You know, Peterson said, Rogers is retiring. You should go out for his position. Time you made vice president of something, right? Only one way to go, Joshua. Don't think about the other way. That night, over dinner, he noticed his wife's 5 o'clock shadow. She ate a burger and a half with 2 servings of mashed potatoes and a huge salad. Joshua had the salad and the burger patty, no bun. His wife dropped him off at work. She wore a tie that could be considered spiffy. He recognized the tie. I bought this for you, she said. He smiled and fingered the buttons on her shirt. Going up for this promotion, Joshua said, makes me hot. He wore an Ann Taylor suit with a cute satin extension at the hem, gold earrings with tear-shaped pearls dangled from both lobes. He tried not to, but he kept playing with the charm around his neck during the interview, but the board loved all his answers. It would be nice, he heard Peterson say, if we could get some diversity in the upper ranks. Right, gentlemen? That night, Joshua and his wife made love. When they finished, they could not separate. It's our love, Joshua said. I love you so much. The epiphany made him weep. He felt his wife's vagina envelop him more, and instead of going flaccid, he grew into her. Sorry, kids. It'll be hard to go to work, he said. We'll go to work, she said. You worry too much over everything. Sunday at church, Joshua felt a kid's eyes on him. A kid of 5 or maybe 6 years old. He couldn't help but to feel judged by this child, a dark-haired boy with dark eyes, lashes long as Foxy's. Joshua scratched above his left ear but found his wife's cheek there instead, which was slightly fuzzy even though she has shaved. He realized he hadn't shaved his own face in a week, but he had shaved his legs and armpits. The hair in these places, though, thinned considerably. He saw the child's mother admonish the child for staring. He read the word abomination on her lips. He thought that they should go, and he didn't feel comfortable in a church. He wanted to tell his wife that they should leave, but she already knew. They rose together. They talked as they walked out, not saying a word aloud, but saying to each other how alone they felt for the world inside, the church, and that condemning word. There is always work, he said aloud once they were outside. You like me at work. His wife tried to reach into her pocket for her car keys, but instead grabbed their penis, which is where her right pocket would have been. Here, he said. He put his free hand around her shoulder and pulled her closer to him. She pushed into him. The sensation was similar to unpleasant but obligatory sex. How do you think we look? His wife asked. Like how our child would look, he said. We can never kiss again, someone said. We were kissing all the time, someone said. I just know that there's kids up there running around. So I wrote that story years ago in Vermont, at Vermont Studio Center when I was there. And what's his name? Alan Cumming was there for a week, working on his memoir. And when I read that story, he's in the front row, I just saw his face get like more and more like, what the hell is she talking about? So that's my claim to fame. It's really old. Okay, I'm sorry. I haven't really read much from this one. Okay. Brother Charlie's Intended. Here's another church one. Brother Charlie's Intended. God bless us. We are all good Christians with traditional beliefs. No sex before marriage, no abortions, no celebrating Halloween without praising God and Jesus Christ in all his glory, no gay sex. So imagine my absolute joy when my brother, Deacon Charles Robertson III, had found an equally God-fearing wife with processed, pomaded hair to wed and bid in the name of all that was holy, then be fruitful, etc., etc. I was invited to a week of engagement party. Tuesday, June 10th, the shower. Thursday, June 12th. They were moving past the rehearsal dinner, Saturday, June 14th, and the wedding, Monday, June 16th. But I cannot attend, I emailed my mother. She called my phone. What do you mean you can't attend? What is so important that you're going to miss your older brother's wedding? You a teacher. You have summers off. I'm a professor, not a teacher. But I'm an artist too, Mama, and this is the time that I create. Look, Lord, do you hear this? Your brothers only get married once. Yep, just like Donnie, right? My brother Donnie married twice. Are you jealous, Mama asked, because it's not you? You are 27 years old. What are you waiting for? God bless us all, I said. Is she pregnant? What? Charles is intended. Why is everything so rush, huh? Yolanda, just come and support your brother. I'll see what I can do. Yolanda Robinson, you will be here. Of course I was. With rainbow-colored bells on. I didn't tell them as much, but they should have gotten the point. Besides, I was happy for my brother. He wasn't the brightest or most handsome out of the 7 of us. And I had sincerely worried that he wouldn't be partnered up because that was important to the Robertsons. I offended easily and bristled at stereotypes or assumed expectations. I always rocked rainbow for pride celebrations, but I wouldn't be caught dead in the bright colors regularly. I didn't care about the studies. I didn't believe in gaydar. Still, when I met my future sister-in-law, Neona, I knew she wasn't with my brother because of true love. I wasn't even sure if it was a cursory adoration between the two. But what gave it away? Was it her slim figure and perky chest? Was it her smooth, cocoa-colored skin, seemingly blemish-free? Was it that she did not wear her hair processed and pomaded? Not to say that some gay or bisexual women didn't process the hair, but no one in our church showed up Sundays with nappy updos or her huge hoop earrings. I saw her and I was a believer. You're Charles' younger sister, she asked. I nodded. I'm Yolanda. I smiled at her like I smiled at every woman who I was interested in. She smiled back, and I realized then she didn't know she wasn't really into men. She had never entertained the thought, or maybe she had but prayed it away. I nodded at her and took my place at the dinner table. I lamented that I couldn't tell how I was reading the situation. I watched my brother and his woman at the engagement party. We hardly touched, barely looked at each other. Maybe it was the lack of lust, or maybe it was the overabundance of nerves. Maybe it was my assumption, and I would swear my family's Bible that she cut eyes at me more than once during the party. Later that night, alone in my childhood bed, I thought about the moment in the restaurant bathroom when I saw a flash of Neona's thigh. She was fixing her skirt, and I was washing my hands. I saw more than I should have. I couldn't help but let my mind wander over her upper inner thigh, imagine how soft her skin was, how pliant. I masturbated with the image, finishing with her name on my lips. The next day, during the gift-giving segment of the wedding shower, someone gave Neona a small, fleur-de-lis shaped vibrator. Some people need the extra help, the well-meaning gift giver said. I mean, you use it with your husband, not alone. So, no masturbating, huh? And I said, Yolanda, that is having sex with the devil, my mother said. The devil is a mighty fine lady, I thought. Some women, the giver said, may not get the complete pleasure sex is supposed to give, so her husband can take this and rub it, above your opening. And some men, another one of Neona's friends says, like it rubbed against them, like along their behind. This dark-skinned friend's face flushed red. That was my cue to leave, if only for a minute. I stood as quietly as I could, and I left. I wandered outside onto the porch, wishing I was somewhere that vibrators weren't mysterious objects. I scrolled through the news on my phone to kill time. I was engrossed with the story when I heard the back door to the house open, slammed shut. Then I heard a sob. Neona? I said. I quit the porch, walked around to the back of the house, and found my future sister-in-law. Sure enough, she was crying. I know how to use a vibrator, she said in a whisper. I took her elbow. Walk with me. She let me lead her to the alleys behind the houses where seedy things happen. We didn't get far until we stopped in a car which stripped the road, backs of houses to us, garages. I love my brother, but you don't have to marry him, he said. I'll marry him because that is what we do. She let go of my elbow and let her fingers smooth the skin down my arm. She took my hand and turned to me. I just want to kiss you, just once. I wanted to say something witty. I wanted to tell her that she could kiss me anytime, that she could do more to me. Instead, I tried to show her what I wanted to say. I kissed her like I knew my brother never would. Sorry. Cleaner of bodies. This is so depressing. I'm sorry. I can tell you about it. Did you know that there's a lot of unclean bodies in LA? When I read that story, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's horrible. Okay, this one is, this is not about race. This is called Lady Bird, Lady Bird. I am obsessed with that poem. I found out that I have written about the Lady Bird, Fly Away Home a couple of times, and I'm embarrassed about that. And I'm not sure if you guys notice this in your writing, how you have certain recurring things. What do you have?
Well, thought or the idea comes back again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that happens.
It does. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna get upset with it or not. I'd probably write about Lady Bird again. Bird-like. Flitting? Bouncing? Do I float? Is that your light? He said. You peck at your food, hollow bones. My bones aren't hollow. No, he shakes his head. No, I know they're not, but it's like they're hollow, like a bird. Avian. He shrugs. Sure. I imagine him dying. I imagine taking one of my chopsticks and turning it away from the deep fried tofu and toward him. I see myself forcing his dull tip into his chest, breaking beyond errant bones and stringent skin, plunging through to his heart. Maybe both chopsticks. I am diving in and sawing at his heart, using his sticks as knives, picking up juicy bits of his heart. Your voice too, he says. My voice? Sing songy. See, you just asked a question there. Well, I didn't know. But your voice goes up and down, he said, like a melody that doesn't mean anything. I put my chopsticks down. Suddenly, I don't feel like Chinese food. I don't feel like food. I want to keep eating because I'm afraid that he'll continue the metaphor. But I can't eat. His heart blood is all over the eggplant and tofu, the steamed brown rice, the noodles. It's on everything. I can't tell what's red pepper and what's ham. I cannot eat this. I say, you remember that chant about the bird? Fly away home. Your house is on fire. Your children are all alone. He asked, do you want children? Think about the term fall out of love with. I had always called bullshit. I never believed that people could fall out of love like people could fall in love. But here I am, falling as if my wings are clipped. One more short one. Okay, this one is also kind of mean. So what? This is in 3 parts. It's called 3 Studies in Patience. Bird dog. Worms were for birds with limited perspectives. Let them wake early, let them eat worms. Woodstock waits for bigger game, impossible food from fools who lie unaware of infinity. What bigger dunce than a dog who sleeps atop his house instead of inside, safe in the likes of praying birds? What bigger fool to proffer a belly fattened with gifted food and an easy life? Woodstock's game was a long one. He pretended to befriend the bees so he can be close without suspicion. Snoopy was cow adjacent. When real hunger hits him, Woodstock will rise and get his worm. 2, a kind of nourishment. They aren't just vitamins, but they're chewy between the molars, leaking medicinal orange, grape, and cherry flavors. She feeds the fun shapes to her husband as if they were candy. He asks for more, and she gives him more. She wonders how long it will take him before the diarrhea starts, for his heart to beat faster. She thinks of the word toxicity and how toxic is toxic enough. At night, she feeds him green potatoes with eyes of the tubers, pulverized and covered in brown gravy, fruit punch laced with crushed apple seeds. She serves dinner with a wifely smile. 3, I really do love my husband. I know, like, all these things, like, He's my best friend. All these things sound like, whoa, she's going through it. I am not. I have like, not autograph here. Okay, 3. At least 1,000 cuts. Blame him. Kate Idaho did. He asked for sex all the time because that's how he knew to speak. She gave it because she knew it took from him, and she'd notch his back in tally marks with her index fingernail, waiting for his ailing, aging body to give in to the stress she exerted on his bone. Kate Idaho liked to bring him near climax from above, then leap off him as if ejected. She'd then run around the condo, imagining the dimples at the top of her ass catching a light. She'd feel all the fleshy parts of herself jiggling with each football. Silly, oh my gosh, this guy's name is Fred. Silly Fred would chase her as if he could take the exertion. His breathing would be so spent toward the end, he could hardly catch his breath. Kate would let him catch her and then fucking pass, bringing him to finish. And then what, she wondered, once he was gone? They weren't married, so it was not for the money. She didn't care about the money though she'd probably get her share. But that was the then what, and she understood it from the start. The satisfaction of knowing how it would feel to kill a man. I was told I have 45 minutes that I could do what I wanted within. Do you guys have questions for me? Yes.
I'm wondering if there's anything you're working on right now, or like have ideas for the future, like things that you're excited about.
Yeah, I have a novel that I am trying to place right now with my agent. It's about, I was explaining it as a novel that's a lot bigger than me. It's about a woman whose partner is killed by police violence, and she's pregnant at the time, and they're going to get married. And she's also shot, but she's not killed, and she has to figure out in this whether she wants to live or die. And so that's that story. Like, what is the use of living in a world where people are aggressive towards you? So it is a story about hope. It is on a high note, I think. So that's one thing I'm shopping around. Another thing I've been working on for a while is an ekphrasis project with people of color and like old masters' work, or like famous paintings and stuff. And I published some of those poems. And when I was looking around, every time I'm around art, I look like, where's the one person of color? There's this gorgeous one over here. I was like, that guy needs a poem. So that's something I've been working on for a while. So those are the 2 things that I've been working on.
That's so cool. I love that idea.
Thank you.
Your inspirations are so varied. Do you bubble up with and have to have, what's your discipline? I mean, like, just your mind, I could see you just being like, so much what inspired you.
I wish I had discipline. I don't.
You do. Just do it.
Oh my gosh.
Trust me, you have discipline.
So the book, the last novel I was just working on, every once in a while I'll do writing residencies. Like I mentioned Vermont Studio Center. You can go there for 2 weeks or for a whole month, and uninterrupted writing time. They cook for you. They also have visual artists there. It costs money, or you can get a fellowship, and I was very lucky to get a full ride when I went. So my first novel was kind of out of that, partly. So just having that uninterrupted time. And the second one that I just finished, that came out of, I did a residency in Iceland. And Iceland has all these sagas. And if you saw the movie, what's it called, The Norseman? The Northman, yeah. You can see how violent those sagas are. So the story that I wrote about, this girl's boyfriend getting killed by gun violence or police violence, it was a saga. I wanted to make it feel like a saga, but American. So that's two things, but otherwise I keep a notebook, but I do wish I was more disciplined, because I don't take notes as much as I should. And I'm very lucky in that I have a job where I have summers off, and I put that in quotes because you're still like prepping for school. But those summers, I taught one summer, and I thought, I'm never gonna do this again, because I wasn't writing, I was teaching. So I need those summers. We have twins. They're now 15, but it was very hard when they were a lot younger. Still, when they're 15, they come in and they talk at you. Or they take over your space and they steal your socks. It's difficult. And sometimes you just have to put it on your schedule. Like, I'm going to do this day.
You already answered my question.
Is your the book about the daughters are awesome all the time? Is that available today?
Yeah, I have 2 more copies. Unless you want to take my reading copy out. 2 more copies. Yes, that's available. It's also available online. You can buy it from the publisher, or you can order it from any bookstore. I know it's on Amazon, and it's also at bookshop.org, which is like Amazon, but I guess less evil. So, yeah. Any other questions?
When did you start writing, and how did you get the desire to write?
So this is probably a really corny answer, but it's true. I was an early reader. I have 3 older sisters, and they would come home and play school with me. So I learned how to read when I was like 2. And I love reading, because they were so much older than me. They didn't really want to play with me a lot, so I would find solace in books. And when I found out living people write books, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an illustrator writer, and then I learned I can't draw. So as I got older, I went through stages like, I'm gonna write horror. And in 8th grade, I took this events lit class, and it was all social criticism. Our teacher was an old hippie, and so we read The Christian Bowl, we read 1984, Children of a Lesser God, just like all these great books. Like, this is what I want to write. I want to write things like this. So, Brave New World is and just the one that you don't like that much. The Kids on an Island. Lord of the Flies. I love that book. That's one of my favorite books. I don't know why you don't like it.
They just did a play of that here.
Really?
6 months ago.
Oh my gosh. How was it on stage? Was it pretty good on stage?
Amazing.
Yeah. So I always wanted to write, and I've always written like little stories and poems, and then after college, after my MFA, kind of giving it up, trying to like make money, and just working horrible jobs. And then I went back to grad school, and I found that I just want to be in that community to help me write. Now I don't know, like, do I still need this? And I worry with the latest administration, I don't think that it would happen, but teaching jobs are at stake. They're always at stake, right? But would I want to do something else? Sure, I guess, but I love writing. I'm not going to stop now. I think you have to love reading first.
To be a teacher, do you worry about what you say and what you publish?
No. I should. I don't think my students read my work. Not at. So I teach at Fitchburg State University. I think a lot of them don't even know that I write, which is, I think, normal for undergraduate students, especially at regional state schools. I think they know that I write when they take my classes. I don't teach my writing. I think that's you, but I talk about the writing process with them, and I talk about the publishing process with them, because publishing is something that I did not learn when I was in school. No one ever talks about it. And I think now more and more professors are talking about that process, because it is a big part of writing. So but no, I should be concerned what I say with my students, but I'm not, or with my writing. I think I'm more concerned with my family. Especially like when All Daughters Are Awesome Everywhere came out, I was very worried. Or even New to Liberty, there's a character there who's very queer. The sex scenes are queer sex scenes, like the loving sex scenes are queer sex scenes. So I was really worried with that, with my family.
With not us. Your
Not you, no,
parents
not
and sisters.
not the family I made, but like my sisters. Well, my mother, not so much, but mostly my sisters. My oldest sister is dead though, yeah.
Have you encountered any students that you can see are young writers that are really going to go forward?
Oh my gosh, yes. I've had some students who just knocked my socks off, and what often happens is those students don't know how good they are, they don't believe that they're good, and I really encourage the students to try it. Like if I have a friend that's publishing, I know it's a little bit of nepotism. They have a magazine or they're looking for pieces. Or one time I just encouraged a student by saying, I publish here, like I talk about interests because that's one of my loves is going to call myself a museum whore, just going to museums and looking at art, and that's where I find a lot of my inspiration. So I told my students about this publication that only publishes it Express's work, and he took a chance and he got a piece published. So, which I was really happy about. Just a great writer. It's so exciting when you get a good writer. And before I started teaching, I thought, what if I get a student who's better than me? I get jealous, and it's not that way at all. It's more like, wow. I hope they're better than me. I hope they do much better.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yes.
What are your thoughts on, like I have a friend who's in her 80s, and she's writing, and she was regaling, she's using the AI, just as an editor who will point out her repetition or where she's, what are your thoughts in that arena?
So she's using it more like a grammar check or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what she told me, yeah, but it's very helpful, so I know it's such a new.
It is.
And as a teacher now with
Yeah.
students and, just wondered if you would, it's so new.
It is so new. I have a problem with AI, and I know that we all use some version of it in our lives. Like we use it when we text and it automatically fills in for us, or we talk into our phone. In that case, like where she's using it as like a grammar check or someone to look over it, it could be very helpful, especially for someone who's emerging writing or is starting off as writing. But I think that it can be a slippery slope for some, where you come to depend upon it, or
You might not even realize
Yeah.
you're adjusting.
yeah. And the writing, like I also teach first year college writing, so essay, argumentative essays and stuff. And when you get a paper that's clearly written by AI, it is clearly written by AI. They're very bad, and maybe it will get better. They're like lots of pretty words that seem like it's saying something, but it's not saying anything at all. It's not saying anything. There's no argument, there's no evidence, there's nothing. It's just
No personality.
no personality. It's just very poorly written. Yeah.
Not to add to the point, but it's also feeding the AI system.
Yeah, you're feeding it. That's
You're
what I was
giving
gonna
your
get
works,
to.
and they're gonna use those works
Mhm.
to discern what's good and what's not, or what people want to be.
You're feeding the thing that's going to eventually
Yeah.
kill you.
Yeah.
But maybe it won't kill you. It seems so weird. I know a lot of my colleagues use AI, not just at Fitchburg State, but other places, use AI to grade. So in my head, I'm thinking, the students are using something else to write it, the professors are using something else to grade it. Why haven't it? Why do this? What is this
Yeah.
exercise? And
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but yeah, I think, people have been saying that the novel has been dying, or poetry has been dying for years. for centuries, really, they have been saying that it's dying. And I don't see that happening. I see my own 2 children and their friends, and when I go to Barnes and Noble, I know it's like the big bookstore, but I like Barnes and Noble. It's one of the few brick and mortars. It's always crowded. There's always people in line buying books. There's always people reading. So, and there's always books. There's new books out there. So, if literature is dying, it's a very long, slow, painful death, I guess, or not very painful.
Public schools can be
Yeah.
encouraged to make it not.
Yeah,
It's a little bit dark time.
it is. And it really does depend on what school. I'm very happy with the school that our kids are in. Just, they're reading Vonnegut, they're read Akibe, they're reading, which I appreciate. They read, I was very surprised, they read The Things That Carry, the whole book by,
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember, Timothy, what's his name? Yes,
Yes.
Tim O'Brien, yeah. So I'm happy that they're in that school, that they're being exposed to that, but.
That's Massachusetts.
Any other questions? You guys have your open mic. I'm gonna turn into a capitalist. I do have.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes,
much
yes.
for having me.